How's everyone's heart rate doing after this weekend? Because I think I can speak for a lot of us that it was a crazy weekend for Carolina sports, between the Panthers winning once again, final kick in the final seconds. Also, Charlotte FC winning their playoff match in PKs with a crazy save. We're going to talk all about that. No one really can talk about both of these better than Antonio Ramos, the Spanish play-by-play voice for the Panthers, and Charlotte FC. So excited to have you. This is going to be a lot of fun because we have so much we can talk about today.
Oh, yeah. So happy to be here with you, Daniel. And just what a great moment to be a Charlotte sports fan. Even the Hornets winning two in the same weekend. But we got to focus on what the Panthers did in Lambeau Field and Charlotte FC forcing a Game 3. So that was a great weekend to be around Charlotte sports.
Let's start with Panthers, like you said. To go to Lambeau, I guess to backtrack first, this back-to-back with the Bills and then the Packers kind of was on the schedule as, ooh, this is going to be a tough 2 weeks. It was also this 2-week period where Bryce Young's injury status was a little bit up in the air. Of course, we know he missed last week. It was that pretty bad loss to the Bills. They put up 40 points on the defense. Bryce Young was through practice this week. We saw him out there. They weren't exactly declaring him to be officially active until pretty late in the week when we had a good sense that he would be out there. And, you know, he led his team out there and got a statement win by all means. I mean, to get a win over a team that is 5-1-1, the best record in the NFC, that's got to be a pretty big statement for the Panthers to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Even the Packers were unbeaten at home. I think this is a blueprint win in the Canales era, in my opinion, with the Dallas win as well. But going on the road in a tough situation, as you said, against the number one seed in the NFC, it's just the resilience, is the preparation, is how you come back from a tough loss against the Bills, is how you respond in the NFL to me. And, the preparation. They were starting their 7 different combination of offensive linemen in 9 weeks. Even you had to adjust during the game with Jay Kirkham playing right guard, with Zavala hurt, and containing Micah Parsons in a really good pass rush. You gotta talk a lot about how this offensive line is working. Ike Mekwonu, to me, is having a super underrated season as a left tackle, and he handled Micah's first game ever with no pressures, no sacks. I know it's a collective effort, even the tight ends. So that's the blueprint of this team. That's the commitment of running the ball and controlling the trenches. And it was a fantastic finish. And Fitzgerald, even in his rookie season, contributing, winning the game late. But I think it's in the small details of how you find these wins. And Coach Canales said that Tracy Smith, a special teams coordinator, he helped him after the coin toss. When they won the coin toss, he said, we're gonna have the ball first so we can with the win finish in the fourth quarter with the win in our advantage, and even help in a hypothetical scenario if Fitzgerald had to kick the field goal. And I think all those little details speak volumes of how prepared this Panthers coaching staff is.
No, it's science, A, which is so cool. But B, like, the fact that that is something that they're thinking about, to maybe the average fan or media or viewer, you're not thinking like that. And that tells you this coaching staff is coming into every situation really thinking about these things. And I thought that was one of the coolest things. And Canales really talked about that after the game, too, about that conversation that he had with Tracy. And, just even listening to Greg Olsen, in game, talking about, the wind and this and that. But to know that the Panthers were, of course, preparing for that by making those decisions. They wanted to get the ball first when they win the coin toss, which, yes, it's something to be said that they've been wanting to start fast, too, and you can give it credit. But knowing that they were also thinking about that tailwind and things like that, too, I mean, that was awesome. Going back to that offensive line for a second, a lot of people, I guess, were saying in conversations I was listening to, like, were you surprised that they were able to do as well, I guess, as they did in this game against Micah Parsons and the Packers defense? And honestly, I'm not surprised because this group is showing so much resilience. You use that word. So many different lineups, so many different guys going in and out. And what we're seeing from them is so remarkable because, again, just 2 seasons ago, this was a really big pain point for them. They've invested so much in developing these guys, in making it a cohesive unit where they all trust each other. It's kind of a plug-and-play system now where someone could go in from being a center to go being a right guard or whatever it may be, and they all can do it, and they do it happily. And someone goes down, and there's a next man up. Of course, there's a bunch of guys in this unit that you want to make sure are out there. D-Lou getting hurt early on, too. Yeah. You never want to see that. Taylor Moton, obviously, dealing with his injuries. And then
Nyman against his former team as well.
Exactly.
Great
Josh out there
as
as
right
well,
tackle.
too. Yes, absolutely. This group did so much, and we have to, of course, credit what they were able to do for what Rico Dowdle is able to do. Because once again, Rico unleashing and just carrying quite literally this offense to this victory.
Yeah, everything starts in the trenches, and even when you're missing Robert Hunt, Brady Christensen, Kate Mays, rotating pieces, as you said, again, Josh Nyman had another solid performance as right tackle. He played right tackle against Dallas when Timo was down as well. So it's a unit. It's Joe Gilbert's unit, helping these guys be cohesive, and is what Canales has been praising, being a tough team in the trenches, running the ball. And when you see those specific designs for Rico in these crack toss blocks, it's just a solid run blocking team, giving Rico chances to be in the next level, climb on, the second level and play in open field. It's just the violence, how Rico is been running the football. But, Chuba is also a great part of it. It's not just a rotation or him understanding his role now, but the experience, the leadership of having Chuba Hubbard there in the backfield as well. Now, again, in a different role, is just what's working for the team. It's understanding your roles, and your number is going to be called soon whenever you need it. But Rico is third in the NFL in yards per carry, in total rushing yards. That's part of this blueprint, the style of Canales that he's been praising for 2 seasons now, right. And it all starts with running the football.
Yep, he said they want to be a run-first offense. But this was the first week, we were just praising good coaching. This was the first week that they did make this change, because they were doing the system where they were alternating backs
more
on
of a
different
committee
series, do it by committee. Maybe they saw the stats speaking for themselves, that the run game wasn't as effective doing it that way. And I think a lot of us have been talking about that as well, asking Canales himself, saying, hey, if one player has the hot hand, do we really think it's beneficial to maybe limit him in terms of those touches? Because at the end of the day, it's not helping anyone. So we did finally see that. And again, 120 yards, 25, I believe, carries on the day. I saw Micah Parsons. Let me find this quote I just pulled up. Micah Parsons said to Pam Oliver after the game, he said, Dallas didn't know how to use him. Carolina does. What do you
they
make
were teammates,
of,
so he knows
exactly.
what he's talking about.
They were together in Dallas with the Cowboys last season and beyond that too. So what do you make of the coaching staff and Canales coming to this decision to finally, I guess, let Rico loose a little bit, while also, like you said, valuing and knowing what Chuba can bring to his team as a leader, as a veteran on the squad as well?
Well, I think in this game in particular, the best formula against a good pass rush is running the ball. And Rico really just gives you a better chance right now of how efficient he's running the ball. Again, I think Chuba is a really important member of the locker room, the leadership committee that Canales has talked about. It's just understanding your role. And again, even the tight ends understand it. Mitch Evans, as a rookie, blocking, Jatavion Sanders blocking, Tommy Tremble blocking, is a commitment to whoever gets the ball, we're going to rally around you, and just giving, in these situations to when you have to pass the ball with Tetairoa McMillan, even, if you run the ball that well, you're going to get more man-to-man situations. And Tetairoa McMillan, I think he has 39 receptions, 33 are for first down. So you see how he influences the game with, separation and different routes, the timing routes with Bryce. I think this team is just coming together as a really fun offense to watch.
T-Mac with a couple more circus catches this weekend. But again, like you said, this offense goes through Bryce Young, who once again had that clutch gene. We're going to take a quick pause because we have to talk about one of the craziest stats in football that I have seen in a long time. We'll be right back. Okay, so the magic number right now is 9. Bryce Young has now led this Carolina Panthers team since he has been in the NFL to 9 game-winning drives. And the crazier part of that statement, which is obviously crazy in and of itself, since he has been a starter, he has won 11 total games. So 9 of the 11 wins that he has led the Panthers to have come on a game-winning drive. This guy likes to make our blood pressure rise, I think. I don't know. I mean, it's just crazy that it's always done with these dramatics, but Bryce has got the clutch gene, I feel like.
Yeah, it's the situations he's been, around, and this is also his second road win ever in his career. If you don't count the Germany game,
sure.
Of course, we were the home team
right.
in Germany, but it's again Canales trusting Bryce, and Bryce trusting the offensive line, and the weather conditions yesterday were not perfect to throw the ball, but he found solutions to this team. Even when the pocket was broken, he had to run and find some first downs. Again, I think every game is different, and you've been winning in different fashions, in different situations. And to me, another magic number is 20, because every time Rico Dowdle runs for at least 20 times, Panthers are unbeaten.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
And another number I want to highlight, 13.5. That was the spread.
Oh, yeah.
The Packers were about 2 touchdown favorites to win this game. Jordan Love has been in the MVP conversation this year. He's been a really special player leading his offense. And we cannot overlook what the defense was able to do
Absolutely.
to limit them to just 13 points in this game. This, again, an offense that has a lot of weapons. Watson, we got a couple little glimpses of what he could do. Some pretty big catches, one early on for 50-plus yards. But again, couple fumbles getting recovered, a pick from Trayvon Merrick. This defense that was historically poor a season ago, once again showing that they are here and are really kind of forming an identity. Last week was a tough week against the Bills. 40 points. James Cook had an unreal week. Outside of that, though, they really seem like they've been working and getting kind of to that cohesive identity. What would you kind of think about that?
Yeah, to me, it's the discipline in the trenches, and that's also a Rivero deploying Trayvon Merrick in a very creative way. But if you have Derek Brown, your defense is different, and he just creates problems all over the front in different blocking schemes, different offensive linemen. He's just a game changer, and he opens opportunities for Nick Scorton, for Tershawn Wharton that he had, his second sack yesterday. But to me is that, how creative Ejiro can be, even with Trevin Wallace now switching roles with Christian Rosewoom, who's going to be blitzing, who's going to be more in pass coverage. You have a showdown corner in J.C. Horn as well. So you really start seeing this roster construction because of, Dan Morgan's decision and Brant Tille's decision to give Ejiro a competitive roster on defense. But again, to me, the huge difference is having Derek Brown on the field. You miss a guy like Princely Umanmielen as well. He was hurt, but they signed Gibson from the Niners practice squad. You need an edge rusher just to set the edge sometimes. But again, to me, everything starts on the trenches. If you control the line of scrimmage, you have 50% of the game probably on your way to win it.
No, again, we've talked about this before on this, but I love the weekly. Here's a look at what Derek Brown did, just absolutely pancaking players on the other team. He is such a special player, and it's so fun when you get to just focus on watching him on some plays. You're just like, I'm going to watch DB this time and just see what he does, and just he's not letting anything past him, and it's so cool. We talked about the secondary a little bit with Trayvon Merrick making that big play. Mike Jack almost with an interception as well too. They were holding their own. Again, just one touchdown on the day too. They held them to have just those 2 field goals. as well. So like this defense was doing a great job in terms of limiting Jordan Love, getting to him, putting pressure on him as well. So yes, I think that's a great thing. And like you mentioned for Ejiro Evero, a lot of pressure on him coming into the year where there was maybe some criticisms of his scheme. Dave has always said, I like his scheme.
He's
I like
played against it. His coach
right.
against it, yeah.
Right, and he said, I like it. So I think it's true. It's showing if we stick with it, if we're not making changes every year, then we can keep building, compounding. But we also know on the defensive side, they did make a lot of changes in terms of personnel, bringing in so many players, including rookies. Christian Roseboom, have to highlight, though, he's fun to watch, too. I mean, that one early punch-out that caused that fumble, just kind of flying in out of nowhere. There's been a couple games for him that have been up and down, but for the most part, that has been a great addition to that defense. He's just been awesome to watch.
Yeah, and also I think it's credit to the coaching staff switching roles, giving Roseman more freedom. He is not wearing now the green dot. That's Trevin communicating with Ejiro. It just frees Christian to play closer to line of scrimmage, being more aggressive. It's also, to me, it speaks about how this coaching staff adjusts and they reflect on themselves. Like, hey, if this is not working, we're gonna change to the type of runners that we were using, giving Rico more times the ball and switching the roles for the linebackers. That to me says a lot about how they can, be responsible and reflect what things are not going exactly how they want it to go, but just adjusting through the weeks and giving the players the best chances to be in good positions. And I think the linebacker position is a good example.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to round it out, of course, Ryan Fitzgerald, like we said, second game-winning kick he's had in his very young career. It was a windy day. It was a day when
Lambeau Field. Imagine the pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the most pressure-filled environments in all of the NFL. He had already missed a PAT earlier. Of course, there was a penalty on it, so he was a little bit further back.
Yeah.
He, I'm sure, can have a little conversation with Rico about that one afterwards.
Absolutely, yeah.
But, for a young player, albeit he played 6 years of college football, to go out there with the confidence in his coaches to get him in a position to say, we're going to put the game on your foot, and to go out and do it and deliver, I mean, speaks volumes about a kid that, by the way, there was a kicking competition throughout camp as well, too. They weren't even sold on that. So cool to see for Ryan as well.
Yeah, it's every unit trusting each other, complementary football. There was one play, again, we go to the details, when Bryce kind of told Rico, hey, Mike is coming here, stay for blocking. He was bluffing. That was not a passing play.
Yeah.
It was just trying to play mind games with the defense, and they run in second and mid, second and long. That put the ball in the right position just to give Fitzgerald a chance to kick the game, the field goal game, and win it. It's, again, to me, it's a blueprint, a staple win in the Canales era, and just builds up momentum for the next two games against divisional rivals. So that's when everybody's going to be talking about you. Being in November with a winning record, didn't happen since 2018. So that's when you can see this project, this team, understanding that they can compete with their tools, that they can compete with their philosophy, and it's working.
Not only that, but through 9 weeks now, 5 wins, which is more than their season totals from the last 2 years. Last year was 5, and they're already there just through 9 weeks. So I think that says a lot. Just to kind of piggyback off of what you just said and put a little bow on this, going into divisional play, like you said, Saints coming into town, a 1-win team. Looks like it should be easy, but when it's divisional play, you never want to underestimate anyone, right? And I feel like this past weekend, you can can say that the Packers underestimated the Panthers. So you never want to do that to any team.
Maybe they were looking ahead of schedule and looking to the Philly game. But I think Derek Brown said it about a month ago not a month ago, a couple of weeks ago when we faced the Jets. Like, we can't underestimate a team that's just desperate to have his first win in the season, because we were that team a couple of years ago. So I think that message, and to me, watching Canales and Bryce Young and all these leaders not over celebrating in every win, but not being also, kind of underwhelmed with the losses. There's just the same attitude. It's the same focus. It's the same week of preparation. It's like an emotional intelligence that they have. Like, we're not the worst when we lose by 40, and we're not the best if we beat the number 1 seed in the NFC. It's just maintaining the same focus and the resilience and showing that there's a way to compete with our style.
Absolutely. All that being said, there is reason for confidence.
Yeah.
Not to be overly confident, but they should be feeling
Builds
good.
trust.
Builds trust. Builds that character, that we're building an identity at this point, and they know they're coming back home. Speaking of confidence, we're going to come right back because Charlotte FC should be feeling pretty good after they had a crazy match on Saturday night, but can't be too confident yet until they close out this series against NYCFC on Friday. We're going to wrap up that coming up after I'm back. All right, so once again, Charlotte is a playoff city, and we get another match, which is, I think, great for everyone to see because the last one on the previous Tuesday was a tough taste left in the fans' mouths of Charlotte FC. They won on the road. Tough environment again, if we're talking about tough environments, to go to Yankee Stadium and face NYCFC, who's the 5th seed, Charlotte FC is the 4th seed. It's a pretty even match between these two. And of course, the results said that it was a scoreless match. It had to go to PKs. It had to go beyond into the 7th round of it. And Christian Kalina, once again, proving why he is one of the best goalkeepers in all of MLS. What do you make of that PK performance? We'll just start with that, because to see that kind of redemption arc, especially after Charlotte's last playoff series that they had a year ago against Orlando, where that was their kryptonite and they ended up losing, getting eliminated. This time, they stood on business and they were able to do it. What do you make of that?
Well, first of all, Charlotte is the first team ever in MLS playoff with a new format in playoffs during MLS. You know, when they switched to this format, is the first team ever to force a game 3 when they lose game 1 at home, being the highest seed. So that shows, again, resilience, a lot of character. I think Charlotte should have won that game in 90 minutes. They hit the crossbar twice. Bronico, Westy almost had an amazing goal.
Yeah.
Toffolo missed one before halftime. But again, when you have a goalkeeper like Christian Kalina, he holds you every single season, every single game. He's been super influential in every elimination game. As you said, against Orlando last year, we were remembering during the broadcast what went through for, last year against Orlando, game 2, you got to go to penalty kicks. That game was at home, but then game 3, you almost won that game in regulation, and then you got to go to penalty kicks. But that's the advantage when you have a great goalkeeper. New York also had a great goalkeeper in Matt Freese, so there's just two teams that they know each other so well. They played so many times. It's basically the same group. Of course, different tactics, different scenarios. It was a must-win game for Charlotte FC to force Game 3, and now everything runs to Bank of America Stadium on a Friday night, and it's just how they responded, and all the veterans and the leaders. Tim Ream had an amazing game.
Absolutely.
He is for sure one of the instrumental pieces in why this team is coming so far in MLS during the playoffs. You have Westwood orchestrating everything in the midfield, but of course having Wilfred Zaha, he's a difference maker. Even though he didn't score or he didn't have a lot of chances, he's just dragging defenders out of position and helping Toclomati have spaces, helping Kerwin Vargas have more 1v1 situations, and that also helps Toffel playing a little bit higher. So just Zaha's presence is what this team needed in game 1. The
energy, the attention that he brings. To Tim Ream, I will say I was surprised that he wasn't up to take a PK, but then in the broadcast they made note that Matt Freese has probably seen him take a number of different PKs while working through the U.S. men's national team. So it's like, that is a very valid thought. As we're going into Friday, we have to wrap up pretty quick, but everything is on the line. Charlotte will either advance to the next round for the first time in their club's history, or they watch their season come to an end. How do they bring this confidence in that winning mentality from New York back to Charlotte and hopefully close out this series?
I mean, there's clearly a swing of momentum in the series when you go to New York and beat them in game 2. It's the second best home team in MLS, and of course we won all of our supporters at Bank of America Friday night. We're counting on you as you've been supporting the team all these 4 seasons. But to me, this Friday is the most important game in Charlotte FC's history. Could be the first time we're playing in a conference semifinals. So you have everything that you wanted. You have your fans. You have your, you feel you're gonna sleep in your bed on the night before. So it's
almost a week of preparation as well.
Yeah, no traveling. And of course, I think is a testament of how this team is playing this year, but it's also how Dean just transformed the mindset of this club and taking it to high stakes, playing these type of games. There's no place I'd rather be next Friday at Bank of America. That stadium is going to be rocking.
We will be there, and this is our call. There should be no excuses. It's going to be a Friday night, 7 o'clock, ideal time to come see sports. Should be beautiful weather as well, too. So packing the bank will only help Charlotte FC. They have said how much they feed off of that. So play your part.
Let's make history together, yeah.
Tonio, thank you so much for coming on.
No,
really
thank you. I
appreciate
had
it.
a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you.